This is the Anycubic Vyper, a very well-performing 3D printer. I fixed a problem with it that was identified on the stream, and then I printed something really cool, and I can't wait to show you. Let's get into it. There you are. Welcome back. This is the Anycubic Vyper, and we got this out of a box and 3D printing on a stream. I first printed a CHEP cube, and then I printed, I believe it was a TARDIS dice tower that I can't find, and I think I gave to a friend. I hope they're having fun with it right now. On the stream, on the CHEP cube, it looked to be a little bit proud on the corners, and Chuck Hellebuck himself came down from the heavens and hung out with us plebs on YouTube in the comments section of the stream and said, looks like a bit of over extrusion causing the corners to bulge, check E-steps. Yes. After the stream, this printer went and hung out over there for a bit, and then I finally took it home because I wanted to play with it. Once at home for a bit, I had a free weekend. And I thought, let's get into it. Let's just get this rocking and rolling. So I did the EStep test. What you do essentially is measure from a point where you can measure easily 120 millimeters, and then you tell the extruder to extrude 100 millimeters of filament. And then from the point where you can measure, you measure to the 120 millimeter mark that you had made. And if it is 20 millimeters, then you're right on. If it is less than 20 millimeters, it means you're extruding too much filament. And if it's more than 20 millimeters, it means you're not extruding enough. When I did the test, I measured 120, I extruded 100, and I measured and found that I had actually only extruded 90 millimeters of filament.
It is an outrage.
Going in through G-code, I was able to adjust the E-steps and put in the new value that was calculated, which happened to be, I believe, 450. Awesome. And then I did a test, and it looked pretty good. This is the cube that was then printed out. I mean, it looks pretty good. It is a CHEP cube identified by the X, the Y, the Z or Z, and the Chuck Hellebuck's electronic products right there. Proof is in the pudding though. So now we got to test it. I'm gonna have to go left-handed, aren't I? Yep. Jeez.
And it's all backwards.
On X, what do we got?
No, 20.09.
20.09, okay. Now on Y, 19.94, okay. Z or Z? 20.04. So according to all of those numbers that were just shouted at me from Sean, thanks Sean, it looks to be pretty decent. When you're 3D printing something by melting plastic and you're within hundredths of a millimeter, I'd say you're doing pretty decent. This isn't a CNC mill. So we have ourselves a CHEP cube that actually turned out really good. And then I printed these benchies. This one was printed in Idea Maker right here. I created a profile and I think it did a good job. This one was printed in Prusa Slicer. I created a profile, and I think it did a really good job. Both benchies look fantastic, quite honestly. I even tweeted this out, and people were like, wow, that looks good. So I loaded up this brand new model from ClockSpring 3D, and let me just tell you, do you ever find yourself in a position where you have a mobile device that is phone-sized, and you have to set it somewhere, and you don't want to set it flat on a surface, and you don't want to lean it up on a box of cereal? What you want is a phone stand, and not just any phone stand. You want something with pizzazz, with style.
Oh, hello.
Something with grace.
Can't help it if I make a scene.
Something that looks and feels fantastic.
Chewie, we're home.
It's something that sits in front of you and adjusts based on pressure and just holds your phone ever so gently. All the while letting you plug in a cord from the bottom. That is the ClockSpring 3D phone stand, and I'm gonna go, I'm gonna get it. And there it is. This is the phone stand by ClockSpring 3D, and I believe it's called the Planetary phone stand. It prints like this, all the parts just on the build plate, just like that. And then when you get it off the build plate, it folds up. It folds up. I love this design. Look at this. So there is this screw that you use to tighten it, and it's actually got a little 3D printed little edge on it so it doesn't fall out. It's got this piece right here which interfaces with this. So Here's one of the best parts of this beautiful design. On this horseshoe shape, there are little raised bumps, and those interface with holes on this section. And it's called a planetary phone stand because it uses a planetary gear system to twist in a way, and then these bumps are what hold it into place. So if I fold it down like that, and I put that in, and then I screw that down, just like that, the phone stand doesn't move. So if I unscrew it a little bit, then it goes in between those little ridges, those bumps, and then I can tighten it down. And then you've got a phone stand. Here's the real test. I'm gonna get out my phone. Look at, oh, there's my family. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's so good. I love this.
The screen's dirty.
It's a phone. Look, this is a very simple, quote unquote, print, but there's grace and beauty in this. The way that ClockSpring 3D designs these print in place mechanisms and these gears and these things that mesh together, it's wonderful. The way it looks in your hand, the way everything just kind of folds together. This printed in like a rainbow filament or using multiple colors would look great. A palette system printing all of the different planetary gears at different colors would look wonderful. So this is it. This is the planetary phone stand. This is by ClockSpring 3D. And I just wanted to show you because not only is it cool, it proves that my configuration of the E-steps on the Vyper were valid, and I've got some incredible prints coming up from this machine. Before we say goodbye, I do want to mention though, I do have a pre-production unit of this, and there are people who got retail units and they've had some issues with those. I know Sam Prentice had a failure with the auto leveling board, and my producer David got one, and there is a power supply problem. And so I just wanted to make note that this is how mine is performing. I don't know how the rest of them are going. If you're having issues, reach out to Anycubic for support. Well, if you made it this far, you are awesome. I'm glad I got to show you an incredible print from a talented designer. I got this from his Patreon, which I am a member of, and I will put a link in the description so you can be as well. Don't forget to hug each other more. Fight for a cause you believe in. Don't forget to put the dirty dishes in the sink. And as always, high five.